The meeting is now being recorded live. Going over to Fiona.
Hey guys, so missing from last week, I have Arnab and Chandler. So if you guys think that you were here and I missed you, please just send me a private message. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Fiona. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? All right, thank you. Going on to executive reports. I do not think Amrachi is here. Is anyone from the BAC here? That's a no. We do not have a parliamentarian, and then that which just leaves me. I think everything looks pretty straightforward for today. I hope you guys got a second to look over the petition or the resolution that we're going to talk about. Otherwise, I'm thinking I might send out a survey sometime soon, just getting some feedback on like how the meetings have been conducted so far, like what aspects of like the executive reports are helpful and which parts aren't, if different people should be talking, that kind of thing. So maybe just look out for that sometime soon, then we'll get a chance to look it over, maybe adapt how we organize things. So I'm not seeing anybody from the student body that is here to speak. So I'm going to move to elapse the time. And that actually already brings us to the resolution. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure Claire, if you're here, if you want to give a quick introduction as to what the resolution is and the idea behind it.
Yeah, sure. Basically, if you scroll down a little bit, we just we talk about the petition and kind of say this is like the main reason why we're doing it as a result of like the student body's wishes. And then I kind of went through the petition and saw some of the reasons that the people had written that they signed it. I talked to the person that made the petition, and then also just from our conversations in the meeting is where I drafted most of the like reasoning, mentioning like mental health, people off campus, online classes, how they didn't really let us know about that. And the precedent from last year. I know that they voted down on the pass-fail on the academic affairs board recently, although they mentioned maybe doing like a different form of grading. So kind of talked about how that indecisiveness can like add stress and just like uncertainty for students, and just going with the pass-fail I think would be best. We said it was feasible, obviously, from last semester, and just ultimately that we would support it, and hopefully this would maybe make the academic affairs board reconsider. So the actual like resolution sections are pretty straightforward, just that we would pass it. It would ultimately go to the university registrar, the dean's advisory committee, and then also back to the AAB again. Like I think Elle mentioned, hopefully we'll find out why exactly they voted it down next week. So maybe if we have to readjust after that, but I think that this is a pretty convincing argument. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Jack, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think Claire gave a pretty comprehensive rundown. My input was minimal, to say the least, but yeah.
One thing I was going to say, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, hopefully, I know it's kind of hard to like show it if I'm like scrolling. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look through, but just for the people who, I know this, for some people, this might be like the first piece of like legislation coming out of Senate that you're actually getting to see that's like new. So the way that we're essentially going to go about things is that we'll open up for like a Q&A, and people can express any concerns with the resolution that they have. If you think it should be sent to somebody that's not listed under section 3, if you think something should be worded differently, then that would be your time to express that. So I think moving on to kind of question and answer portion, if anybody had any concerns or comments they wanted to raise, just raise your little blue hand so I can see you. Thank you for the participation. It's hard to keep track. I think Tucker, I think I saw you first.
Yeah, so we could also possibly also put in a section asking the Academics Affairs Board to publicly announce their reasoning if they fail to pass it or do not want to implement it second time round, and also publicly announce other forms of grain they plan on considering.
Sorry, Tucker, could you repeat that really quickly?
Yeah, I was just saying that we could put in a section regarding if the Academic Affairs Board does not plan on reconsidering the pass-fail option, to publicly announce their reasoning, and then to publicly announce other grading forms they plan on considering. So that way, at least SGA and other students can consider those and put forth their support.
I might add in a section while people are talking, then people can kind of give their tentative opinion. Kobe.
We possibly also send it to Dean McLaughlin and then President Casey as well.
Those are good additions. And then Shelby, I think it must be privately, but.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like AAB, when we voted on this last week, it was mentioned that like it's kind of like, I don't know, what we said was confidential, but I really do not believe that this is going to be passed by AAB. I think most of the faculty members have drawn like a pretty hard line on not wanting this to happen for this semester, just because this COVID situation is kind of like an indefinitely long situation. And I don't think that they like the idea of having like potentially 3 semesters, maybe more, of like a student's academic experience at Colgate be optional pass fail. And I think just in terms of the way that the resolution or the option allows students to pass fail courses that are mandatory for their major, I think most faculty members are like really against that, especially for an extended period of time. And I think like when we were in the meeting, and I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say this and other people on AAB can chime in, but like the faculty do understand that mental health is a real problem, but I think they don't really see how this would be the solution to the problem, just in that like what at the end of the semester you get to decide whether you like your grade or not. I don't think they see how that like fixes the mental health of a student who's already been struggling in the class for the entire semester. And I'm basically just echoing what they were saying. I'm sure they'd be glad to outline the reasons why they voted against it. But I think that it would be more productive to instead like have us as members of the Senate come up with what an effective alternative would be, just because I know that the AAB wants to do something to treat mental health, but they themselves, like, I don't know if they're preparing something or an alternative, but we wanted to at least like vote to have there be an alternative, because the problem does still exist, even if this is not the solution. So I hope that, yeah, clears something up. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to express that, like, yeah, I'm kind of editing as we go, just to like keep track of what everyone said, but we're very much so going to like vote too. So it's not necessarily like we're going to send everything out that I'm putting up. I'm sorry. I think the next person was Sorrel.
So I'm on the AAB as well, and I definitely agree with everything that Shelby said. And I don't know if this is the time to talk about this with everyone, but something I was going to mention at our next meeting was a proposed alternative. So I'd be curious what us as the Senate thought of that before I proposed it to the AAB, but I'm not sure if now is the time to explain that. Is it?
I mean, I think you can comment whatever you like.
Okay, so I was thinking like, because they kind of felt like they didn't think it was like a good thing to treat the mental health, and then they didn't want to set this as a precedent because it would lower the like rigor or whatever. I don't know how much I can say, but like I was wondering what people thought of maybe having like an application or a form to fill out if you did want to choose a pass fail option. That way you couldn't just pick it. Like you could apply to get approved for it. Like if you had a certain like circumstance, or you were like studying remote from a different country, or it was a difficult home situation, then you could let them know and they could make those kind of accommodations. And that way, I think that a lot of the faculty on the AAB might not feel like it was just an out for some students who didn't like their grade.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Next was Sophia.
Yeah, I'm gonna comment on that. I mean, I guess that's a good idea, but I also just feel like, I forget who said this in the beginning, but whoever made the comment about kind of if this doesn't pass, then the faculty or whoever have to come out and give a reason why. I think that's a good idea, because I feel like from what I know you guys can't say much too, but what I'm getting from it is that they're worried about like Colgate's rep and like the rigor of whatever, then rather than like our like, well-being. I don't know. Like I feel like the last semester it worked well, because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm like opting to drop my grade. It's like, it's optional. Like no, they're not forcing us to say like, oh, you have to do pass fail. Like if you are like functioning fully and you feel like you get good grades and you want to keep that in your transcript, then that's good for you. But I feel like there are just a lot of people that that's not the case right now. So that's the tea on that.
Thanks, Sophia. Caitlin. Oh, I was supposed to say also, like, sorry, I was gonna say one thing. I did email Doug Johnson, because I know him from being on the AAB last year, who was one of the, like, I forget what his positions, he's one of like, the important people on AAB, talk about the confidentiality. And he told me that, like, basically his quote was like, people are asked to be careful and limited regarding what they share. So I think in the case in which like you guys are worried about like violating like that, I think it's pretty broad. So anyway, sorry, but Caitlin.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I don't know if Shelby said this, but pretty much everyone in section 4 of this resolution has already seen it and has discussed it. And I know that the faculty are like, they're talking to the creators of the petition, and I've already talked to them a few times about like what is going on, like the updates with what the AAB is talking about. And I know the AAB like will make it known to the rest of the school, like the reasoning behind it. They're just like still trying to like work things out. Like that's kind of what we're working on right now, like without getting into details about it. So like they're not trying to be, like they're not trying to hide things from us or anything. They're just like still taking time to make sure that like they're, no stone is left unturned.
Erin?
Hi, yeah. So I think that I really like, Sorrel, what you had said about maybe making a form or some sort of option as far as with like confidentiality to why you would want pass fail. And I think that's a really good point, because I think we do have to really take into account students who are remote this year. But if the AAB isn't going to pass this resolution for pass fail, then I think like we should really be putting our time and energy towards something that maybe it's possible for them to pass. And that's kind of my commentary on that.
Chandler?
Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, I think that one of the things maybe we should even take into account beyond the mental health aspect of it would also be the fact that some of our classes are online. And I mean, memory retention, class participation, all of those things are affected when you're on an online forum or an online medium. So I think maybe incorporating that somehow might also be interesting and a fresh take. I don't know if that was something that was mentioned already or if it was already said in terms of the meeting, but I know that maybe for classes specifically online, that should potentially be an option for the students.
Were you saying you thought that you wanted to revise like the resolution according to that, or that we should like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe add a section within the resolution, maybe tackle the issue from that other side in terms of when the committee meets with the administration. Yeah, I feel like, because I think to the terms of the rigor aspect that they brought up, I think that the rigor, sure, in person may still be the usual, and they don't want the pass fail to affect that. But online, it's a different. I mean, it is different. The rigor is different inevitably online. So I don't think that that necessarily answers that part of it.
Claire, I don't think you don't have to wait for me to like call on you, since technically it's like a question and answer. Like normally you and Jack would be standing in front of everyone.
Okay. So yeah, first, at least to answer about how pass fail would help mental health a little bit, at least like from my understanding of like the conversations, this isn't even something I'm really vying for like personally. I'm trying to like hear other people out about it. It's just that like there's a lot of like stress and things created, and like having the option at least would like help with that stress, and it would like, I think it would alleviate it is kind of the idea here, even though it doesn't like seem to directly correlate with mental health. And then just on like what Sorrel said about maybe doing the application thing, like, well, I think that's a good idea. I also don't think people should have to like validate their struggle to the administration in order to get like academic help, especially if some people were, for example, just like struggling on campus for whatever reason. They don't have the like, I don't know, the same justification necessarily. Like, why should, like, who do we reject then really? Or who does the administration get to reject and say that like, oh, you get help and you don't? And also I just am like a little bit concerned about the timeliness of like an application, because you wouldn't know if you get the pass fail or not for like so long. It would just kind of be more like indecision or like just lack of awareness, I guess. Maybe even adding stress, because then you have to worry about an application about your struggle as well as the actual struggle itself.
Before we move on, Chandler, I don't know if these two phrases kind of address what you were saying, or if you wanted them to be different.
Yeah, I think those touch on it. I guess the thing I wanted to stress a little bit more was that I don't think you can have the same grading standards for in-person classes as you can for online. I think that those grading standards naturally have to be different. So they kind of touch on it, but I think it's just like another, I don't know, addition in my opinion. I could try and I guess.
If you want to type it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I did not realize how hard this would be. Just come up with on the spot. If you want to make it's a friendly document. So anyone that wants to like, I'm kind of trying to like put people's comments into words. It's shared with everybody. It's in the folder. So
awesome.
I'm not writing things correctly.
Yeah, I'll try and draft something and send it or add it.
Sure. Claire, is your hand still up, or is that just? Right, good. While Chandler is typing, does anybody else have anything that they would like to share?
I guess I would like also maybe suggest that if people do want to take one more week to like come up with alternatives, and then we compare this to like other options that could be useful, or like just revise it, maybe hoping to explain the mental health connection a little bit better, or explain why this would be better than like alternatives, then that might be useful rather than just deciding right now.
Yeah, on that, if people wanted to, we can continue the discussion. I'm saying like if at the end people decide that they'd rather like wait for an alternative, then I think we could the course of action would be to make a motion to table, which would push off voting on it until next week. Shelby?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with Claire. I think I don't know. I feel like I keep saying the same thing, but I feel like this really like pass fail is not going to be something that the faculty are into for this semester. So it would be very like really good if we all could like work to come up with an alternative, and then maybe at the next Senate meeting have a different resolution that could be presented next week, like next Wednesday to AAB or something like that. But yeah.
I don't know if you can see all this. I'm just trying to make sure this is properly shared. Don't know why this is always hard. I don't know if that changes anything. Okay, I don't know if that helps people that were having issues with trying to click on it. Yeah, I think we're just waiting on. Yeah. Chandler, I don't know how your statement is going, but I think we can finish the document and then we can move on to voting. Because technically, I don't think we can go into any motions unless till the document.
Yeah, one last thing. If we do choose to vote on this today, I guess my last justification of why it should still be passed would still be just like a message to the student body that we were still like listening to them. We like put forth our best effort to do what they like wanted us to do, even if the administration won't budge. I think it's still like worth something, especially because I took the time to write it.
I don't want to hold up the voting or anything like that's too bad. So maybe that's just another something you bring up next time you speak to them. I don't think it necessarily has to be in the document.
I think when me and the principal others were talking, we were mentioning that hopefully we'd accompany the resolution with a like, oh, if people wanted to meet and discuss it, then we would do so. So I think we can definitely bring it up elsewhere. I'm just gonna stop sharing. So does anybody have any motions? Give a hand raise. Tucker.
Motion to vote.
Is that seconded? All right. Billy. Sorry, Billy. Oh, thank you, Billy. Any other motions? All right. Seeing none, we're going to enter voting procedure. So I think same thing as last time. Send your vote either a yes, we should send it, or a no, don't send it, or we forgot last time, but an abstention. You can abstain, meaning you don't want to give any input. And if you're doing it as a proxy, I think just kind of do like a little like in parentheses, like note, like this is a ×2 kind of thing.
This is going to Fiona.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please write like ×2 or something, as Elle said, if you're proxying for someone. Has everyone voted? I'll just give you a little more time if you haven't. And Elle, it's just simple majority, right?
Yeah.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah, if it's close, I would count it just to be safe. I mean, I don't know what the margin is, but
Yeah, I counted. If everyone has voted, that passes.
Right. So I think Amarachi will sign it and send. And I think people were definitely expressing good ideas about alternate options too. So that doesn't mean that we can't also kind of brainstorm about that in the event that the pass fail option isn't actually implemented. Okay. So next thing on the agenda was kind of in response to the quick poll that I did in the group me over the weekend. I got the feedback that people were semi-interested in doing more brainstorm type things. So I thought trying to keep it broad, I just thought, I know a lot of times like when I assigned everyone to committees and gut boards, there were a lot of people that were really interested in dining, which I'd never like particularly thought about myself. So I was very intrigued to hear that. So I just kind of thought if we could give it maybe 10 minutes today, I'll send people into breakout rooms and just kind of do what we did last time. It can be, I know people have like different like types of weeks. So it might just be like a quick like get to know like who you're with, even if it's just to like meet somebody new in Senate. Jesus, we need different rooms. And then otherwise just maybe like throw our ideas around and then we'll come back and just kind of mesh a little bit. Okay. I'll set a timer for 10 minutes this time actually, so I don't keep people waiting. This group was all underclassmen, so I thought I would come here. I picked you all especially, so I hope you feel very blessed.
Absolutely honored.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Wait, you picked this group?
I did.
Here we go. All right. So I guess what problems do we see with dining right now on campus?
I'd say like long wait times is definitely an issue. Especially at like Frank. There's been a couple times where I've walked past and it's like the line's actually just like out the door.
Yep. And I would also, so long wait times on top at the hours. Frank usually being 24/7 from what I hear. However, now it's goes from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, give or take.
That's tough. I feel for you all.
It's a real loss.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just not having 24/7 Frank.
I know. That's like the freshman experience. It's like getting like ice cream at like 2 a.m. for like no reason. Okay. I guess it's only 2 first years, but
And I'm not sure. I guess these sophomores, and I guess Ellie can touch on this. Is there anything that goes on within Chobani or Frank or Coop, the actual procedure things that I guess in terms of getting food and whatnot, that's different. That would be causing a problem this year. I'm just trying to think of things.
Like I've been eating at Donovan's a good amount just because like I'm in 113 this year and it's like right there. But like if you're trying to order something, you have to like select the time slot and stuff. And if they're all filled for the night, because like people just order that like in advance, like 4 hours in advance. And if they're all filled, you just like won't be able to eat. So that's just kind of annoying. But
yeah, I gave up on that mobile after one attempt. Did not go well for me.
I also feel like there are a lot of people who order ahead and then just like don't even end up picking it up, which is like food waste and also takes away a lot of the time slots.
Yeah, and then on top of that, for Donnie's, there's no cancel option. There was one time where I ordered food, but then I wasn't able to get it because I had some sort of commitment I had to make, and I tried to find a way to cancel, but I just couldn't cancel. And so if there's some way in which students could cancel, it would probably speed things up a little bit, Donovan's, because there's already a wait time. I'm sure, and food waste is already a concern. So
I think that would make a lot of sense. I feel like it should not be that difficult to implement like a cancel option.
yeah, just some button in the app to say, do you want to cancel your order?
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question in case if any of you guys know, but like, is like, I don't know exactly what the hours are, but is Edge in like all these other like pop-up places open on the weekend and stuff, or is that just like Monday through Friday? Because like I don't know, I feel like on Sundays like there's sometimes like just like limited places to eat. Because I know it's like Frank and Coop, but I'm not trying to walk that far.
I have no idea.
I know Edge is closed on Sunday. I'm not sure about Saturday though.
I think it's closed on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday.
It used to be like a joke that like the Edge Cafe was called like the Edge Cafe and there was like no food involved. And now I feel like we kind of lost that. Now they have like a pop-up there. It's the price we pay. I never know how long to like have these. Cause I feel like last week my group was like bumping. Like people were like, I don't talk about fair people in my group. But people were like, everyone had like a ton of ideas, and then like people were texting me like, "Can we please end this?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry. This is the same thing's happening again." Oh God.
Really?
Yeah. All my friends are texting me like, "Why are we in these?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm just right now."
Yeah, I guess we got some slackers in Senate.
Apparently, always.
I guess in terms of solutions to all these, I guess I'm not sure about the wait times for Frank and whatnot. I'm not sure exactly what we do about that. I know we could probably open up the second lane because there's only one lane open in Frank, which probably slows things down a little bit. But in terms of hours, it would just be implementing new hours, just saying here, be open 24/7, or telling the Edge be open up on Saturday or wherever. So,
Quick question. Do we know why Frank isn't open 24 hours?
I heard it's because they have to clean more because of the pandemic, but I'm not sure how accurate that is.
Okay.
Definitely pandemic. I'm sorry. It's definitely pandemic related.
Yeah. No, I'm sure of that, but like,
I think you're probably right.
clean more. That I don't know.
I was thinking maybe it's also just like there's definitely like probably more manpower involved, like having people like staff every station as opposed to like takeaways. So maybe it's like a giving people rest kind of thing.
Are we only talking about dining stuff or just anything in general?
I think we can talk about things that are random. I usually just like we've done this kind of stuff just to like get people's ideas going. If you have something unrelated.
One thing that's just really annoying is like the parking situation, or not parking, but just like the whole cars on campus. I don't think like what they have currently is deterring anyone from driving anyways, and it's just basically a huge inconvenience. And like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah, like one of my friends went to go, which I guess is against the student health guidelines, but used his car to go get groceries and then brought him up to his room and got a ticket because he was driving on campus, which seems kind of ridiculous. If it's just him in the car, he hasn't left town, just a matter of not having to lug, a bunch of groceries up the hill. Doesn't seem like it's gonna, spread COVID or is really a safety concern to our community.
I went to Donovan's and we got a ticket. Given I was also like in somebody else's car, but the point was like they didn't see us like in there. Like they just gave him a ticket for like parking there. So I think like my advice would kind of be to maybe like, we've kind of like in the past, like it's not really like a task force as much as it is just like, again, it's like the best you can do is like writing in like the group meeting, just being like basically like, hey, if you're pissed off about like the driving policy, like this message, and then you just make a group of people and then basically just be like, what do y'all want to do, is essentially where like 90% of like our like ideas come from. It's just people being annoyed by the same thing. It's kind of my mindset.
Do any of the gates like change that, or is that just like a semester long thing?
I
Like
think it's
the
semester
cars.
long. I'm
Will it
pretty
be
sure it's
next semester too?
next semester.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what I'm just stressed that like it looks like we're basically just starting out from square one and like everything's exactly the same. So like, I don't know, when they talked like last week or yeah, last week, I thought it seemed like they basically said spring is gonna be exactly like fall, which I would assume would include the cars. So
Yeah, and well, I guess to add on to that, a big concern I heard about quarantine for next semester is that there's just nothing's changed about, like they say modify, but the only thing that's changed is the food. And we've seen time and time again other schools implement various other methods of containing coronavirus on campus. It's worked just as well, and putting they're not putting students' health at the detriment at the forefront of it. If you understand what I'm saying, they're not the students' health hasn't been damaged in any way, student mental health. So a lot of people are asking why are we even having a quarantine while other schools done this, and they've done just as fine.
yeah. I'm gonna leave so I can call everybody back. So I think our group was very good. I want to save all of those that are possibly in painful silence. So thank you all for not being extremely awkward. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm not leaving the meeting. I'm leaving the breakout room. Okay. I'm always like slightly pleased when people don't like instantly rush back because I'm like, oh, maybe people are like actually talking. This is like semi-productive. It's like good. Oh my, I think we were still recording through the breakout room. I apologize to my group. I don't think we were talking about anything crazy. All right, so I think I won't keep everybody going on like for too long because I'm assuming people had like very different degrees of conversation depending on the group. My main idea was I think maybe like I know we already have a dining committee, but maybe like if they need ideas, give some of those. And then also I know Amarachi sent out an email today, I think it was, I have no idea what day is which anymore, talking about how we need reps for the dining advisory board. So I think if people are interested in joining that, these are going to be really good issues to raise and maybe ways to kind of think about how we can use that to make some kind of cosmic figure. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay. I made the same little document that we had last time. And for people that want to view it for later use, I know that was asked last time, it's just in the Senate folder under Senate minutes. So if you need access to it, just email me. Did any groups, this is kind of what my group and I were talking about. We didn't necessarily have any solutions for like longer wait times, but we were talking about, none of us were sure if they have the pop-ups that are available during the week available on the weekends. We were saying that might be something to push for, if that might help like with like the fact that some of the hours for other places are shortened. And then we talked about how there's an issue with like the spaces where like you, especially Donovan's, where you like order food ahead of time, how some people like don't show up and how that kind of like keeps the line like backed up and has a lot of food waste generated. So we talked about like the ability to kind of set up a way for people to like cancel their orders somehow. We don't know how they do that, but I think it'd be a cool thing to investigate. Did any other group have anything that they wanted to add?
Yeah, for longer wait times, we were talking about how like I haven't been to Frank this year, but I was kind of under the impression they would like have kind of plates ready under like the like lamps, and you can just kind of like grab one and go, as opposed to like having an understaffed Frank dining hall like just serving out, you know, plates of essentially the same thing, to my understanding.
Thanks, Billy. Anybody else have something? You can just, oh yeah, I guess I should not looking at the hands. You either raise a hand or just speak up.
Ultimately, our conversation came back to the problem of cars, and just in relation to food and not being able to drive up the hill to Frank by one of your friends to pick up food. Like the whole car thing is just ridiculous, and I think we should definitely get working on that.
My group also talked about that, and we were discussing that that might be a good idea, because I mean, like, I know I don't have any ideas off the top of my head, but we were thinking that maybe if people wanted to make some kind of message in the group, but basically be like, if you also like hate the situation with cars, like this message, just so people can kind of like get in touch with one another and kind of brainstorm. Sophia, your hand is raised.
Yeah, my group talked about for the pop-up like trucks and stuff to have the option to use gate cash, because as of now they only take flex cash, and I know flex cash like runs out pretty quickly. So
That is very true for someone that's no longer on the meal plan. Anybody else have anything? All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep everybody longer than they want to. The discussion thing is in the folder, like I've already mentioned. So moving on to good of the order, does anybody have any announcements? All right, seeing none, the chair would be in favor of a motion to adjourn. Do I see a second?
Seconded.
All right, see you all next week. Get out of here.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.